Hey guys, it's me, it's Nick Prime, and welcome back to another black screen video. Again, I have no time to edit it, and just don't quit because it's not the same video as I posted before. Because this time I'm going to talk about Rise of the Beast, but with spoilers. Now, I can now point out some sort of like plot holes and question marks that I left to feel very confused by the script writers. And also how they sculpted the film very good, and I just want to talk about it in a more detailed way, instead of a more indirect way. Not try to avoid spoilers in that non-spoilers video. But yeah, this time it's just going to contain a bunch of spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, go watch it, and just don't be in here right now. Just watch the film first, and then just come back because it's a really good film overall. Now let's just start it up. So before we actually start, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and you can always change your mind at any point later. So now let's just get into it. So the first scene that we saw, Applink versus Scourge. That's a very impressive scene, as a very opening scene, because in the past, I don't know, in the past couple of years that we haven't seen it very now, and it was just so good to see these kind of open scenes are just coming back with some epicness in it. You feel that tension in it, how terrifying the villains are just going to be. But like, big problem, because they only focus on Scourge. That's the problem, because Battletrap and Nightbird are just sort of like, even then to Transformers fans, at least some of my friends and then me, you feel these characters are just very new to you. You feel very unfamiliar because we haven't really seen them on screen. But like, based on Scourge design, just only talk about design here, you can already feel that Scourge has that terrifying, menacing look, and thus you can just know, oh yeah, that's the bad guy. Then you would know it, because you feel that he's very evil. But then whereas Battletrap and Nightbird, yeah, they are evil too, but you don't have many scenes where they got a kill. If I were the writer, then I would just decide to do this. Let these three minions, Scourge, Nightbird, Battletrap, and then come to here. Come to the Maximal's homeland planet. And then so that Applink can fight three of them. Not only this can buff Applink, because he was originally very powerful. And then whereas this film just nerfed it. Not only Applink got buffed, because he was trying to 1 versus 3 all by himself, right? And then you can also show that how brutal Terracons are just going to kill a Maximal like this, or like a Cybertronian organism, kind of like that. And then you can make it a little bit more brutal so that you feel how threatening they are under the hands of the Chaos Bringer Unicorn. You can feel this, but like only Scourge. Fine, but only then Scourge has that terrifying look and then terrifying character in it. Whereas Battletrap and Nightbird turns into a more, functioning robot, that I would like to say, or functioning characters to be a more general way to say it. And yeah, this film just turns out to be exactly like this. And it turned out like Battletrap doesn't even have many kills, and then like most of the kills is just for Scourge, and then like Battletrap, no, weird. Nightbird as well, because even then Battletrap, I guess, is for all of us, even in Transformers fans, are the one that confused us the most, because he was originally an Autobot according to the names. But like he turned into a Terracon, then maybe I'm not even trying to tell the script writers to give us some origins about that, because based on the settings, I just don't think that he was originally an Autobot. But they could have just given us some badass scenes to make us remember this guy, and Nightbird as well, because Nightbird was originally one of the G1 characters that appeared in a couple of episodes. I guess only one of them, because she was designed by some Japanese tech guys and then just used for different purposes. And she got reprogrammed to be a Decepticon, kind of like that. And then she was just that character, and nothing that else when it comes to the original G1 show. But yeah, it was just like that. Nothing really that special. And even in the film, they have only given highlights on Scourge, which makes sense because Peter Dinklage was a very big star, and he was going to be the spotlight alongside with Peter Cullen. That interaction between Scourge and Optimus Prime was just so good. You see that emotional change of Optimus Prime, how, you know, like impossible, and then Scourge just goes, I like the look of confusion when it comes to in the inferior meets a higher power. You have these kind of dialogues that make sense, and I like how they just roast each other. That was just so funny. Like I was just from bottom by how I was actually laughing when the second time that I watched it. The first time I didn't feel that, but like the second time I feel it. It's just weirdly so hilarious. It's like, oh, I like your fire, Prime, but you are going to die on this speck of dust. And then Prime just responded as, I can think of no better place to fit you. It's like Barry or something. I couldn't remember that, but it was so funny. But like the interaction in it, I feel that tone of how serious it's just going to be. How these, you know, this big bad and then the hero that have always been the old time just gonna fight against each other is just going to be good. At least we expect that it was going to be epic, and it did. It turned out in the final battle, it was just so epic. But like, yeah, Battletrap and Nightbird is just completely functional robots. Now, there are other functional robots as well. Most disappointed one is Pablo. Not really that disappointed because I've already expected that this guy is just going to be very bad. You know, aside from the voice actors issue, because that was not an issue to me. Some people actually complain about it. I don't find it like a complaint. It's like based on the design, which is so bad. And then the most disappointed ones are Rhinox and Cheetor. Very disappointed because it was supposed to be Rise of the Beast, and I was going to expect that we're going to see more beasts in it. Maybe not giving them some arc or like something, at least giving up some dialogues, useful dialogues. But like Cheetor, ain't really that much dialogues. There ain't really that many dialogues. He just only shouted like Noah, and it just threw his sphere, you know, like a only that to save Noah from, yeah, I don't know, getting kidnapped by Nightbird. And then Rhinox just did absolutely nothing. I feel very sad for David Sobolov. He was the one who voiced Epling, and then Battletrap and Rhinox. He voiced 3 of the characters, but like how it turned out is like only Epling has the most dialogues, the most amount of dialogues, which was very nonsense because we are going to think that you know, Epling was just going to die, right? He was going to be like this, but like Battletrap is the main villain, then he should have more dialogues, but and there's no big fat no right there. And then another problem that I would like to talk about is how Eraser's origin. That's the other problem that I would like to talk about. It's not like big plot hole, or like at least big question marks that I would like to deliver to the script writers. I'm not even pointing out their problems like anything. It ain't their problem, but I think these things just should be explained in a more clear way. It's like, how did Eraser consider that she was the one who remains only? Because she didn't see her other Maximals members, and that's a problem because they took the exactly same ship, right? They have only one ship, and then which just houses those Maximals, and that should make sense if they just came to Earth at the same time. But like, then like, how could Eraser just get lost from other Maximals, even with Primal? Even then, you guys got lost, and you still have communications, right? You still have, I don't know, networks, you still have those kind of things, and you guys can just do it. You guys can still find each other. Then like, how? This just doesn't make sense at all, in my opinion. And then also another plot hole is also on Eraser. It's like how Eraser died. It gave me that vibe. Okay, I'm just being honest here. Maybe that was not true. I wish that was not true as well. But it gives me that vibe of, yeah, Michelle Yeoh actually got an Oscar in the real life. So if I'm going to get her back to voice Eraser again, then that would be extremely freaking pricey, so we have to just kill her off. No other choice, because that would just affect our next film's budget. Okay. I was thinking about that, and it just totally makes sense. Because even in that close-up shot where Primal grabbed her chest, it just, I'm pretty sure that was not her fatal weak point, right? That grab couldn't result to how Eraser died. unless there's one thing to explain it, the one and only self-destruction freaking program, baby. There's only one this way to explain it, and this is the one. This is the only way to explain how Eric died with those, I don't know, close-up, really chaotic scenes on it. Yeah, final act, really bad. It's not like really bad, it's like in terms of the story feels very hollow. And then, yeah, action scenes are good, badass moments, everything is here. It's just except the story. Like even the humans are getting used. They have some use in it. Not like in Baver, Sam Witwicky, or even then Kate Yeager, they have absolutely nothing to just do with how the big boss fighting. But this time they have to grab the transwarp key. They have to deactivate. They have to reverse the process of Unicorn sucking the planet Earth. So they have to, make some conditions in it. Make some tunnel that is only fit for human size figures, and then so that Noah and Elena has some uses in it, and it makes sense. It was good. It was just so good to have these ideas, just using it, and then just make how the humans can help out each other to help the Autobots, the Maximals, and then whereas the Maximals and Autobots defend for their planet. So it was a good interaction between it, and then even then when it comes to action, it was just so good. There are so many, I think it's like action sequences that I just like, blended in with some vision from Stephen Cape Jr. It was just so good. Like the most impressive one is like how Prime transformed in the very first act. When it comes to the first encounter with the Terracons and the Autobots, you have that bird eye view of transformation of Optimus Prime. It's very faithful to G1, and also it was very good. It was very, I would like to say it's very refreshing, because like we haven't really seen these bird eye views, because it was just very hard to do, and even in the animations they had to just have to do it in a very similar angle. They had to do it in a very simple angle. They couldn't really do it that, I don't know, very complex or like anything. And even in Bayverse just didn't really do these kind of things. They didn't really focus on the transformation, at least. And so that's why it's good to see that the single, I guess, is like a exactly same robot, the exactly same CGI, they can transform in a more different way. So it was just so good to, let people to remember how they transform properly. It was good, though, especially on Prime. They have given so many spotlights on Prime. It was good, Peter Cullen haven't really got treated well when it comes to the Bumblebee film. And then now that Stephen Cape Jr. knows how to treat Peter Cullen so good, and then it was good. So many spotlights, so many dialogues that just comes out in the Prime's mouth. Makes sense, absolutely makes sense. I'm not even, I'm obsessed with Prime or like anything. I'm just being very fair and honest here. Most of the dialogues from Optimus Prime delivers very good. Not only is very mature, it always has been. It's also very making sense. It makes the plot goes very well, because the dialogue, it just nearly explains absolutely everything. His emotion, his feelings, how Prime lost speed when it comes to the battle in Ellis Island. It was just so good to see that emotional change and then the story arc of Prime. Now we have to talk about story arc here. Optimus Prime has the story. It was good. You have that personality change, you have that attitude change on how he treated humans, how he thought humans was going to be at the very first time, and then after he met Noah and Elena, he has a change on it. So it was just not like, yeah, he was just the big brother of the Autobot gang, and then he's just going to lead the Autobots to take out the Decepticons or every single threat that they are going to face in the future. It's not like this, and it was good to make a standalone Optimus Prime, character in it. And you can feel that rage and anger when it comes to the second act in the chase between Scourge, the highway chase in Peru. You have that Scourge versus Prime scenes, and that was good to see how he wants to take revenge on Scourge, because Scourge killed B. So he just acts, he just, he stops, he breaks, and then he transforms, and then he just takes out Scourge alone. It was good to see this. You have the emotion, you have the anger change of it. It's not like, yeah, you lose Bumblebee and then you're just gonna revive him back sooner or later, so I'm just not gonna care about it. At least in Bumblebee films, I mean, it's like yeah, I mean, at least like Baver's films just like that. I'm sorry, it's not Bumblebee. At least in Baver's films, it's just like that. A bot died, absolutely no one would care about it. It was just like that. It gives me that vibe at least, but like this time you feel it from the dialogues and everything. Again, as I've mentioned before, the interaction with Scourge and then with Prime was just so good. It was just one of the best interactions of all time, so it was just so good. And then Primal and Eraser though, they didn't really have that arc for me. It's like very incomplete. It feels it's missing something. Aside from the plot holes that it has in regards to how the Maximals goes, the origins of them or those kind of things. The arc was very incomplete. For Optimus Primal though, we only know that he communicates with humans, and then other than that, no. He's a guy that admires Optimus Prime, so that he just used his name kind of like that. It was just kind of like that, and then nothing else. Whereas Eraser has more arc, but it's still very incomplete. I feel it's still missing something, like a puzzle or something. It's missing a single piece of puzzle to make the arc perfect. If you make the arc perfect, then I think like this character has been done, then it's executed well, so you can just let her die, and that's fine. If they have just made the arc complete, then that will be fine. But all we have to know is like, yeah, she's a Maximal. She is a heroic Maximal, and then she just breathes fire, and then she can fly. She's the only one who can fly, right? And that's it. You don't have that much character in it, kind of like that. But yeah, the voice is still good. The voices of them are just so good. But when it comes to Cheetor and Rhinox, really bad. Like on how they just use these characters as a functioning characters, as I mentioned it so many times. Now moving on to something that I also concerned about, soundtracks. But this is just okay, let's just be very honest here. Quite frankly, these things are very subjective, so you can just pretend that you haven't heard anything, but I just still want to share it anyways, because I think that someone will think will have the same thought as mine. So I'm just gonna explain it to you guys how I feel about the soundtrack this time. The first couple of them was good, especially the battle in Ilias Islands, and then, the battle in Museum, and then also the Switchback Chase. These two soundtracks are actually very phenomenal. It was done very well. You have some, at least you feel that tension in it. But like when it comes to the final battle, yes, story is empty, but I can just ignore that. These are some very typical superhero films nowadays. And then like we have, amazing action sequences. We have different close-up shots. We have dialogues. You have different things, and everything was almost there. Everything was done very good, and except the story, of course. But like the soundtrack just doesn't feel this, because like the soundtrack, I guess, like in my opinion at least, again it's very subjective, so like I think soundtrack is the one that brings the audience to hype, to nuts, to go crazy, or at least care about the robots. For example, let's just make an example here, like how Mirage protected Noah from Scourge killing him, and then he's almost sacrificed himself for that, and you just don't feel any emotionals in it because it's missing a soundtrack. At least the soundtrack wasn't really that emotional, that you just don't feel the tension between it. At least like you don't feel that Mirage is just going to die. You feel like, yeah, it's just a normal bot going to die. I'm actually fine with that. But like the soundtrack just didn't even make you care about it. I'm not even criticizing on Johnny Bontemps. He is a very good composer when it comes to the past projects that he has done. But like the Rise of Beasts and the very like the final ones, the final tracks that we have, feel very hollow. Because the soundtracks didn't really provide that tension, and it didn't provide that, I guess it's like that kind of hype to the audience that you would like to care about the characters, like care about how Optimus Prime kills Scourge, take off his head. You have these kind of epic moments, but it's just missing the tracks. That's what I think. It's the only thing missing from the epic battle. If these things could be done perfectly if you have some, again, like epic moments, you have epic soundtracks, then you have some suitable soundtracks in it. Again, but I understand that they're trying to recreate that 90s vibe with the soundtrack from, with the original score as well. I understand that, but like with the things that they made in the very first beginning, I feel like they have the potential to do it, but and then they just didn't do it. That's what I thought about, because again, the soundtrack in the first and then the second act was good, and then this one though not good for the final act. So it just feels missed something though. But like, not even making comparison, but in the same score in Rise of the Beast, Steve Jablonsky actually have composed the soundtracks as well. Like most of them, like some of them, or like most of them, I should say, just being honest here, are just completely dubbed from the Transformers 1 soundtracks. And he added different things in it. You can say he was a little bit lazy, in my opinion, but I won't say lazy because it fits with that very well. At least I think he had thought about it. And then, like, for example, let's just take Till All Are One, when Prime transforms, proceed that crazy transformation when all of those things are sucked by Unicorn, that big asshole, right? And then you just have that soundtrack, and it was good. Like, at least that was, you feel the familiar in it, you feel that sense of familiar in it, because that was, you can just hear, yeah, that's from Transformers 1. It's just another improved version of the soundtrack. At least you feel this. And then, like, whereas this final battle soundtrack just didn't feel like it. It's just a very typical, normal soundtrack that you would think about. Yeah, it's just a final battle soundtrack. Nothing really that special. Again, not making comparisons, but like, it feels like this, in my opinion, and it just didn't have that hype. It didn't have that crazy. It didn't have that people care about it. It didn't have that sense of blah blah blah, those kind of things. Just makes the entire final battle downgraded just a little bit. Like, usually soundtracks won't really affect the film unless it's just really worse, in my opinion. But this time, no, it's not really that worse, but like, ain't gonna be the best. It's not even impressive or like anything. So yeah, that's my overall comments about the Transformers Rise of the Beast. Nothing really to talk about it for the good things. I've already mentioned it in the non-spoilers video, so I'm just gonna encapsulate in here just in case some of you guys haven't watched it. So, good CGIs, amazing action sequence, is very intense, and then also you have different angles. I guess I already mentioned it already. The interaction between Peter Cullen and Peter Dinklage is very good as well. It's getting well done, executed very good. And then you have also different emotional story arc for Prime, and especially it's very similar to Noah Diaz, which is good. You have that comparison, and then Elena was the guy who pointed out this. She has that dialogue like, you are kind of similar to Prime. Some kind of like that. I couldn't remember it, but I guess she pointed it out when the Maximals and the Autobots was in Peru, like at night or like something. She actually mentioned about it, and you are like Optimus Prime, because you're the big brother who are trying to help the family to get back to home, right? Kind of like that, I guess. She pointed out that similarities, and then people feel familiar because people like Optimus Prime, so they will like Noah and Elena. That's good. And yeah, there are other tons of things that I just have mentioned in a non-spoilers video, so I just won't really say it again or like anything. Just go check that video out yourself. And yeah, overall, it's a very enjoyable film. Grab your popcorn, grab your, I don't know, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. Sit down in the theater and watch it. It was just going to be good, and it is going to be good. I promise you guys. It is just going to be good, and it already was very good because people are getting hyped about it. Although in my place, people just don't really get hyped about it. But at least I feel that when it comes to other places like UK, US, those kind of things, people are getting hyped about it, especially in Singapore, because it's like the country that gets it's like getting earliest premiere or something, red carpet premiere or something, as far as I can remember. But like, it was good. It is good. The film is good. It's very enjoyable, action compact. You're gonna love it. Grab a popcorn, sit back, and watch it in IMAX. It was just gonna be good. I promise you. So overall, I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 5. very solid. When they just fix some minor, I guess plot holes, and some other characters, how they sculpted again. For example, for the Maximals, for the Terracons, and that will be just good. But these are just some minor nitpicks that I have. Like overall, the film is so good because I kind of understand how they want to focus the spotlight on Peter Dinklage and then Peter Cullen. So I get why they have to kind of ignore some of the things, and then I think they are already considered about it, and then just consider about the risk on how some of the characters are just going to lose their loss. Some characters are just going to lose their personalities, and it was just good. I guess they have figured it out a way, I guess, and this is just going to be the best way if this film is just going to be like in 2 hours and 7 minutes. It was good though. It's a little bit shorter than what we have got in the previous films from 2007. I guess it was okay. The story is still good though, not gonna lie. Even in the final act, you have some badass moments, and then whereas the story feels very hollow, but I guess I'm still fine with it at least. So it was good. So 4 out of 5. Recommend you to watch it, and follow my Instagram and social medias, and I will see you guys in the next video, and also subscribe. Bye.